take away one, they'll go buy another.
Exactly.
They'll buy another, and it'll just monopolize.
And then eventually Disney will just own the entertainment industry.
Exactly.
That's what's going to happen.
Alright, what up, cunts? Welcome to another movie talk show, as if there weren't enough already. So today we finally got some dope-ass stories. Probably a few too many, but we're still going to try to get through them. So, what do you want to start out with?
Well, maybe we should start off with some news that came out recently about a potential Middle-earth show that I think Warner Brothers sold it to Amazon or something like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we can start there.
That's interesting. Like, ever since Game of Thrones came popular, I was always like, they'll probably eventually do
Oh, yeah.
I mean, even like when I wasn't thinking it was a serious possibility, it was always like, what would that look like?
Yeah.
Because like with nowadays, this is probably the time to do that.
Well, yeah. Well, that's one of the main comparisons everybody gives when talking about Game of Thrones. They're like, it's like Lord of the Rings on TV.
Kinda. I mean, obviously it's very different, but it's kind of in tone. It sort of feels Lord of the Rings-esque. Like it has that big fantasy epicness to it.
Well, yeah. I think the author like cited Tolkien as a massive inspiration. So.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. So we are big fans of the movies. I have not read the books. Have you read the books? No. But like we love the Peter Jackson Rings trilogy. Like it's the best.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's right up there with the fucking Star Wars trilogy for like best movie trilogy of all time.
It's amazing.
I like The Hobbit personally. I mean, I didn't think that trilogy came together very well overall, but like I still enjoy those movies. Like I don't think they're bad. It's nice to get more Middle Earth content out of them.
Yeah, I've seen the first Hobbit, and it was pretty good.
Yeah, like the first one's good, the second one's okay. I did not like the third Hobbit movie, but really, like the Hobbit was just kind of like Peter Jackson. Like there was a lot of production shit with the Hobbit.
He was kind of just brought in. He's like,
originally someone else was directing it, and he dropped out, and then Peter Jackson came on like last minute.
And it was Del Toro, I think. Del Toro was.
Yeah, he was. And then Peter Jackson came on last minute, and apparently they were like writing the script as they were filming. Like it was like a disaster.
Yeah, it wasn't like Lord of the Rings 1 where there was like years of preparation that went into it.
I mean, it's interesting that like it came out so good given that context. But so Lord of the Rings TV show, are you down for that?
Yeah, I'd probably be excited, but I guess the one interesting thing is, are they going to retell Lord of the Rings in TV show, or is it just a show?
When they say Lord of the Rings TV show,
or Middle Earth,
that's curious to me. Like, I'm wondering, is this going to be a rebooted retelling of the Lord of the Rings story, or is this just a Middle Earth TV show?
Yeah,
I would prefer it to just be a show set in Middle Earth.
Yeah.
With that's still in the same canon as the Peter Jackson movies. That would be my idea. A universe that people want to spend more time in. So I think it's okay as long as you're respecting his concept and his integrity. I think it's okay to tell more stories in the Middle Earth universe.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've already done, I think, 2 video games set in the world. It's called Shadow of Mordor or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think it's like based in the canon of Lord of the Rings, and people haven't had an issue with that.
Yeah, so I think it's awesome. Like I'm down for it.
We know nothing about this.
Yeah, it's happening.
Amazon might get it.
Yeah, okay, so it's just a rumor, but
and HBO passed on it because it was apparently too expensive. So
yeah, I mean that would be fucking expensive to do it right because it's supposed to be an epic.
Exactly.
I think it could work though. Yeah. I definitely think it could work. So
yeah,
that's our piece on that.
Well, so I guess speaking of streaming services, CBS All Access also announced that they're going to do a Twilight Zone revival show.
Yes, they are, and also it's fucking Jordan Peele's doing it as well, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So
well, I think he's doing like a producer maybe on like one part. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he's involved.
That's all we know. Again, that's all we know. We don't know very much.
So the Twilight Zone is one of my favorite shows of all time. I think it's fucking amazing. I love it. Like almost every episode, I just fucking think it's amazing. And this isn't the first time they've rebooted the Twilight Zone. There's been actually multiple Twilight Zone series. There's one in the 80s, and then there's one in the early 2000s. And so it's not a new concept of like bringing back the Twilight Zone, but we haven't had one since the early 2000s. So like with the Lord of the Rings thing, there's going to be some people who are like, oh, you can't do the Twilight Zone without Rod Serling, and it's just like the original series shouldn't be touched. You shouldn't even go there. I disagree with that as well. I think it makes sense to want to tell more stories in that style, basically.
Yeah.
That's all this is. The Twilight Zone is an anthology series, so it's not like they're rebooting something. Like, they're rebooting a brand. And so, like, we're going to tell more stories in the style of the Twilight Zone. So I think that's cool. Like, I loved, actually, a lot of the 80s series. I think there was some fucking amazing episodes in that show. And even the 2000s one had its moments. So, I mean, I'm not against the idea at all. I'm really excited. The CBS All Access thing still pisses me off because it just sucks that this terrible streaming service has swooped up like my two favorite TV shows, you know, Star Trek and now the Twilight Zone. I mean, it doesn't piss me off that much because I'm not going to be watching it on CBS All Access, at least for now, until Canada gets it. But right now, we're watching it like Discovery on space, so I'm assuming it will be the same type of thing. So I'm not too worked up about the CBS All Access thing. I'm a little bit worried if it's like that same creative team.
Yeah.
But I don't think it will be. With Jordan Peele, I think that's really cool because Get Out was awesome.
Get Out was a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, exactly. It was very much like the Twilight Zone, that movie. So, I mean, I'm excited for that. I think it's a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, they should do it. I mean, especially in the Twilight Zone world we live in now.
Yeah.
A little bit.
You could definitely do a lot of, like, because the Twilight Zone was always kind of like Star Trek in that sense, where it's like kind of political overtones.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll never really top the original series, but
no, I mean the black and white aesthetic gives it, and Rod Serling gives it a certain.
It has a certain charm with the black and white, and Rod Serling just being a fucking amazing host. Like, he was just so suave and cool, but also had a creepy element.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, I'm not sure if Jordan Peele's actually going to host it, like if he's going to be...
No, I think he's probably just producing, like a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah, in the other two shows, like after the original, they always had different people come in to do Rod Serling's bit. It might be cool to have a consistent host. My hope would be William Shatner, just because he's cool, and he was also on the original Twilight Zone, so that's kind of some carryover
the
there.
best episode.
I think he could pull it off, so, I mean...
Yeah, just hopefully he's not dead before.
Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, but I don't know. I think that news is fucking cool.
Okay, so we're fucking stupid apparently, and we didn't have the microphone on the whole time, but since we're lazy cunts, we're not going to re-record the segment. We're just going to go off the mic audio.
Fuck that.
So now we got this magical blue snowball microphone here.
Yep.
And you'll have slightly better audio quality than you did before. So I guess we'll keep going and talk about movies. That's the title of the show,
Movies.
so let's do that.
Yes. So done with the TV stuff.
Okay, the first one we saw was Jigsaw.
Yeah. So Saw
okay.
8.
Fucking Saw 8. 8.
Yeah,
They made 8 of them.
You were really excited for this one, actually.
I was kind of excited. I was excited. I was a bit buzzed because, look, the Saw movies are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
They're really dumb. But I still kind of like them.
Yeah.
Like, I've kind of enjoyed watching these movies over the years just because they're so fucking stupid and so much of the time the storyline doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And it's just a convoluted clusterfuck with a bunch of gore. So it's like I've kind of enjoyed keeping up.
It's kind of entertaining.
So I was like, oh my god, they're making an 8th one. Where are they taking this? And also a thing to mention is this shit is actually, it gets to me. Like gore stuff in movies, like it's hard for me to actually watch. And I don't get scared by like anything else in movies. Like fucking ghosts and goblins and supernatural horror does absolutely nothing for me. Like I can watch it and feel just nothing, like absolutely nothing. So gore stuff is the only horror movie that actually scares me. So I was kind of excited to see something that's actually going to creep me out a bit. And so the movie starts. We saw it opening day, right? Just because we wanted to, not because we were like, oh my god, let's see Jigsaw. It's just like, oh, it's playing, let's go see it.
Yeah,
and
it was like half filled. The
theater was like,
it wasn't very filled. It was like half filled
for an opening night thing. It was pretty fucking.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. It was pretty sad. I mean, it is Thursday.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was just a bad time. But like, so the movie starts, and it's. I instantly was laughing, man. Like it's pretty fucking terrible. Like it's bad. It's really fucking bad. The acting is bad.
Yeah.
The storytelling is bad.
Yeah.
It's just a shit movie.
Well, and the one saving grace that you'd hope for is the traps, and these traps all sucked.
Yeah, I was disappointed with that. I'm like, I want to see some people get brutally fucking. And yeah, the traps are pretty lame. I mean, if I had to place myself in any Saw game, this would be the one.
Yeah,
because it's like the easiest one.
It's like stab a bitch with a like a fucking needle or something. And that's how you like.
Like compared to like how ridiculous the traps got at a certain point, it's like this is a massive.
I mean, the opening trap is get a little bit of blood from this saw.
Yeah, so you stick your arm on it and then you're free. It's like what? Nah, son, that's not how this shit goes down. And
then of course the twist. We're all over the place for this movie also.
Yeah, I mean, because we're trying to move
it's
quickly.
literally all over the place. Like, the big twist is it's a prequel with Jigsaw, and then it's in modern day with this new guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
which kind of got us.
It did, because they showed Jigsaw, and let me just say, Tobin Bell was the best part of this movie.
Yeah, no, he was kind of phoning it in, but he was...
No, he was totally phoning it in. He has no reason to act in this movie, but it was just his presence is so strong.
Yeah.
And so it was just amazing to see him again. And yeah, the twist was kind of cool, but then the ending, the very end, was fucking stupid.
He goes on like a 5-minute exposition dump,
and I'm just like, what is this ending like? Basically, the problem with this movie, as far as a franchise goes, is it gives it absolutely nowhere to go. Yeah. Like, where the fuck do you take the Saw movies after this?
I don't know.
Like, were you going to continue the franchise with this fucking nobody who just pops up at the end? Like, we've never seen him before. Like, at least if you want to sustain a franchise, like, bring back a familiar character. Like, why don't you just say Hoffman survived at the end of Saw 7? Or, like, Dr. Gordon is the new Jigsaw or something.
Yeah.
Why bring in this fucking Randy to the franchise and have him, like, no. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, I mean, a lot of the movies are blur at this point. I can't really
remember it. I mean, it's very much a Saw movie. Like, it's...
Kind of. I mean, again, the traps suck.
Well, yeah, no, it
has a convoluted nature.
It felt like a Saw movie in the sense that, like, it was convoluted.
It felt a little Saw-light. Like, it felt really Saw, but light. Like, it felt like a PG-13 version of Saw.
It did.
To me.
Well, I mean, even though there was some pretty gruesome shit, but not the traps, but like there was a lot of autopsy scenes where they're trying to gross you out there. I'm like, that's not what people want to see, though.
Exactly. Yeah.
People want to see some traps, you know?
No, they really focused on that detective angle. Like,
that was always the lamest part of the Saw movies. Like, it was always like, get back to the game.
I felt like I was in a Saw movie, getting
like
the movie was my trap.
You're in a trap.
The movie was my trap.
Yeah, no, I honestly I don't regret purchasing a ticket.
I kind of do.
I had fun, but it's not the fun that they intended, and it's an embarrassing movie.
Yeah.
It's an embarrassment. This fucking movie. It's terrible. But I mean, look, most of the Saw movies are shit, but this one it was just as shit as the other Saw movies, but it didn't give you like the cheap thrills that made you get
like seeing Chester Bennington's rip, R.I.P. Chester.
Yeah,
seeing his back get torn off, like that was actually pretty decent.
Yeah, it was, as like a gore thing, it was like, oh, that's kind of a cool trap. Like Saw 7, the traps were so silly and ridiculous that it was kind of fun.
Exactly.
You sit there like, oh shit, oh my god, this is so fun, you know? It's not, you don't watch it as a movie.
No.
So like, but this one, it had the shitty story, but it didn't have anything else. So it's like, why even waste your time with it? But I enjoyed it as a fan of the Saw movies just to see like how much they fuck up, basically. It's like, here we are, Saw 8, let's see what you got. And it was so pathetic what they brought us that it's like, it was kind of funny for that reason. So I guess that's all we gotta say on Saw.
Well, I guess speaking of things we're fans of, maybe.
Kind of.
Thor 3, or Thor Ragnarok, we also
saw.
I think a few days ago?
Yeah.
Saturday?
It was like,
Sunday?
a couple days ago. So... Look, the MCU I have a very love-hate relationship with. I've talked about it on this show before where, like, I did grow up with these movies to some extent. I mean, they started coming out when I was in, like, late childhood, I think. So, like, I do have fond memories of some of these movies, like Iron Man and the Avengers and shit.
Yeah.
And so, like, you know, it was kind of... I was enjoying it for a while, but I've had problems with this franchise just being so stagnant and not going anywhere and just kind of coming out with the same fucking movie every time.
Yeah.
It's like they basically... I've always felt like they've made one movie and they just release it multiple times every year with a different name. Like, that's kind of what it feels. Or like, different episodes of the same TV
Well,
show.
I mean, particularly this year. Like, that's really how it's felt this year.
I know all the movies are exactly the same tone and everything, and it's just
Yeah.
it gets boring after a while. So I didn't really have much intention on seeing this movie. It's not like I'm trying to be edgy, like, oh fuck Marvel. It's just like I honestly didn't really care that much.
Yeah.
It's just like another MCU movie I could probably pass, but then the reviews came out, they're just as good as normal, and I'm just like, it's kind of interesting, but it's like, but I've already I've seen movies from the MCU that have gotten great reviews that I didn't care for.
Yeah.
Like Guardians 2 and Civil War I didn't like, and it got like 90 something as well.
Yeah.
So like, and then you said like, hey, want to go see it? And I'm like, sure, why not? It might be okay. And it was okay. It was that. It was fine.
Well, I mean, it's kind of the antithesis of what you just said. Like, it's kind of the exact same Marvel movie. Like, there's no real stakes to this. It's kind of just a fun episode, I guess, of this
TV show. That's it. Yeah, it's an episodic TV show where at the end of every episode it resets, and that's what this is. And I'm tired. I've been watching the same fucking show for so long. It's boring. There's nothing happening. And that's what this movie was. It's okay. I mean, if you go to see this movie and you just want one of those Marvel movies, yeah, sure, you're gonna have fun. People in our audience had a great time. Like they were laughing.
Yeah,
they were
hooting, hollering.
They were having fun. All right, so like people were having fun, and that's cool. It's just, to me, it's just not for me anymore.
It's no consequence. It's just a fun adventure.
But that's kind of the problem for me, because I've seen so many of these fucking movies that it's not exciting. It's boring to me.
I was bored at points too. Like, I mean, particularly when Hela was going on her monologues, I was like,
it's just kind of lame. It's boring.
It's kind of lame.
Yeah.
And I don't like that it has no consequence. Like, the biggest consequence in this is he gets his eye taken out or something. It's like, it's whatever. Like, I mean, I don't feel pissed off.
Here's the thing. I'm kind of done with these movies. I've told you this. I'm going to stick it out until Infinity War. And after Infinity War, I'm ducking.
Well, yeah, you're going to watch Black Panther.
Because I'm saying everything until... Because I've seen every Marvel movie from Phase 2 till now. Like, everything. And so, like, I've pretty much seen everyone in theaters. And so, like, I'm going to continue that until the payoff, which is Infinity War.
Part 1 and 2.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch those two, and then that's it. I'm tapping, fuck it. Like, I'm not watching Ant-Man 2 or fucking any of that shit. Yeah. Again, go, have your fun, but I'm not going to fucking keep...
You abstain!
Yeah. It's not even like a moral thing. It's just I honestly am bored of these movies, so there's no reason for me to keep paying and seeing them. All right, hit me with that segue, boy.
All right. Well, I guess speaking of Disney properties.
Oh, yeah, not bad.
So apparently Disney held talks with Fox to buy 21st Century, the film division, because they can't buy the news division or the sports division, because I know that goes against laws, because Disney can't own two news.
I guess the law's set up so
two of the four
one organization can't have a monopoly on the news, because then they could just like put their views. Yeah, exactly. I get that. But the movie studio, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, movie talk show.
It's way more important than news.
Exactly. Fuck that.
I mean, Fox News is actually shit. But like, yeah, the movie studio, apparently, so there's talks that they're buying it out.
Well, yeah, there was talks. So this would include, as I was talking about a few weeks ago, my worry might come to fruition about X-Men, but it's also properties like Apes and Alien and Avatar and all this shit where it's like, I can't see a Disney logo on any of these posters, but it might happen.
Yeah, I don't know. So first off, X-Men, we're fans of that franchise.
Yeah, I mean, as you saw a few shows ago.
Because here's the thing. I think the Apes franchise, it could go places, but I think it's kind of wrapped up, more or less.
Yeah, more or less.
The Alien franchise has kind of hit a dead end as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't hate... I enjoyed Alien Covenant. And I do like those movies, but it's also kind of hit a dead end. But X-Men is a franchise that's just hitting its prime now.
It's just shooting off now. Like,
yeah,
literally,
it's been around for fucking our entire lifetime. But I mean, it's kind of in its prime right now. It's at the height of its creativity, and it would suck for Disney to come by. And look, is it possible Disney would do a good job carrying on the franchise.
Well,
yes,
obviously.
But with the MCU and their whole model of how they make movies, it's kind of worrying.
It is
a little bit.
Well, because they're just going to do exactly what they did with Phase 1, 2, and 3 with the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in Phase 4. They're just going to do the exact same thing.
They're just going to introduce the X-Men
if they bought, yeah, and then just have 30 movies.
Would they keep? Would the current X-Men continuity be gone?
Yeah, I would. Yeah,
it would be gone.
Yeah,
Okay,
because they'd move everybody to the MCU, and then they'd recast everybody. So I mean, everybody'd be out of a job in that way. So Daphne Keane as Laura, bye bye. You know, Channing Tatum as Gambit, bye bye. Sophie Turner as Jean Grey, fuck off. Like that's exactly. It's like Gordon Ramsay, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. That's exactly what it's like if Disney buys them.
Yeah. Okay. So that is sucks because
that would be awful. That would be fucking terrible.
I don't know. It's hard for me to see that happening because it's like Fox seems to be doing okay right now.
Well, yeah.
I mean, actually, I don't know.
Well,
I don't know the company. Movies. I don't know the company as a whole. That's the thing.
Well, that's.
They have X-Men, but what else do they have? That's really killing it. Like a sustainable franchise.
Yeah, they don't have much in terms of sustainable.
Because even Alien is not a sustainable franchise right now.
No, and Apes kind of not.
It's kind of ended, so it's like there isn't a clear direction for that franchise. X-Men is the only thing they have that's really doing well, and it's doing great. Like Deadpool really is slaying. Like Deadpool 2 is going to make so much fucking money.
Yeah, they have 3 movies coming out next year. X-Men movies.
So like I'm kind of curious about that. I mean, it would make more sense to me like, oh, we can keep X-Men, but or like have some deal with X-Men, kind of like with the Sony Spider-Man thing.
Yeah.
So like we can keep doing X-Men, you can have all the other shit. But I don't know if Disney would be interested in that. I think they want the whole fucking package here, especially X-Men, because they want to play with the X-Men.
Well, yeah, I think that's it. It's almost like a football or hockey trade where you trade for the superstar, but then the other like prospect pieces like Alien and shit like that, like
it comes with the deal.
Yeah, it's just complimentary.
That's like the toy that they put on the Happy Meal.
Exactly.
It's like the second.
It's just the icing on the top or whatever.
Yeah.
But
so
I mean, listen. Again, primal fanboy nature. Would it be cool to see Wolverine and Iron Man in the same movie? Of course, but their movies would suffer harshly.
Because Disney does kind of seem like it is very formulaic. I mean, what are they most known for right now? It's MCU and Star Wars.
Well, and Pixar. Like all three. Listen, all 3 of those are PG properties.
Yeah.
They will not do anything beyond PG because they have to maintain their brand. Their brand is PG.
It's family entertainment.
They can't deviate from that and make an R-rated little girl Laura movie. Like they can't.
They wouldn't do that. Yeah, I mean.
Well, they could, but they wouldn't.
Disney's brand is family entertainment. Like that's what they do. And even though I do like a lot of the Disney movies, it's like
I mean Pixar's fucking amazing.
Yeah, no, we both fucking massive Pixar fans, and so I mean I have nothing against Disney. It's just I don't want to see those franchises 100% be taken over. And look, is it possible that they would have the intelligence to do it right? Yes, but just with their track record, they don't tend to do R-rated movies. No. They don't really branch out.
Push the envelope.
Especially with their superhero shit. It's like, I don't see them making a Deadpool-like movie. Like, if they had X-Men all along, we would never have gotten Deadpool.
Yeah,
it would
have
been, it would have been PG, or we wouldn't have gotten Logan. It would just be, they'd be in the MCU, and it would just be that.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of worried about that company, because the X-Men are going straight to the MCU.
Exactly, and the Fantastic Four as well.
And they're not going to change the MCU for the X-Men.
No, they're not.
They're not going to change the MCU.
It's going to be the same thing with X-Men. That's all it will be.
And the X-Men continuity, which is just starting to get good, is going to be dead. That's the issue here. I mean, again, I don't see Fox giving up Deadpool. And I don't see them giving up that franchise, but they might have to.
Yeah, like if they get bought out.
If the company is in a shitty stance right now, and that's the only thing they can do, they might have to because Disney is one of the most powerful corporations in the planet.
Yeah, they're one. Yeah,
they're like one of them. So like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess the broader implications also is sure we lose X-Men to Marvel and shit, but the broader implications of they're monopolizing movies now. Like,
yeah, that's the scary part to me.
They would take away one of the big 5 studios. I think there's 5 big studios. There's Warner Bros.
And look,
Paramount,
they're going to start getting
Disney,
picked off.
And Fox and Warner Bros. Like there's 5.
Once that happens, they're going to start.
And they take away one, they'll go buy another.
Exactly.
They'll buy another, and it'll just monopolize.
And then eventually Disney will just own the entertainment industry.
Exactly.
That's what's going to happen.
Like, I mean, they have their own streaming service. They're going to throw a bunch of shows on there. They're going to try to dominate streaming. Then they're going to dominate movies.
They'll go after Netflix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They'll buy Netflix probably too.
No, they'll go after Netflix. It's not a conspiracy theory. This shit is fucking happening.
Well, yeah, I think they actually did have talks, I think, last year to buy Netflix. I think that's real. Like, I think that's
real.
I
mean...
But it went away.
So, like, that's kind of a little bit worrying. Like, that's scary. Because that, like, I don't want one company owning the fucking entertainment industry. Like, that's just wild. I mean, look, again, I don't hate Disney or anything. It's just... You know, it's kind of a bit scary to have one company owning it all and running the whole thing.
It is.
So, I mean...
Well, especially when it's a studio that takes risks, like Fox. Like, I mean, particularly with the X-Men. Or even releasing Alien Covenant, like, as an R-rated $100 million movie or whatever. I mean...
Yeah, so...
I don't know, it's just... I just hope it doesn't happen. Like, I mean, I just hope it doesn't happen. Like... Maybe, like, yeah, as you said, maybe a deal where it's like they could sustain their own universe, but then maybe like they can have X-Men in their movies.
Yeah, I mean, right now with Fox, with that particular company, the only franchise I really like. Look, I like other Fox franchises, but like the only one that I think actually has a future that I'm looking forward to is the X-Men.
Yeah.
The other franchises, I think, fine, whatever. I mean, Apes, I would like to see more, but it's like. I think X-Men is the one, but like it's not even about X-Men. This is just a larger thing of Disney kind of slowly taking over the entertainment industry.
Well, I mean, even a movie like Avatar that's supposed to have like 8 sequels over the next 10 years. Like, I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, we'll see if Disney buys this company and they're cool about it and they let them do whatever. That's fine. But like we'll see if that happens.
Well, yeah, because a lot of people will also bring up, they produced movies like, or they owned Miramax, I think, in the 90s, and then they released Pulp Fiction, but that's completely different than this.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's 100%.
They'd be taking over Fox completely. Like, Fox would be abolished, I think.
Yeah.
And it would just be Disney. All that stuff would be owned by Disney. So they'd have to produce their own stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a bit scary, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's not confirmed. It's just,
it's not like this is happening. It's like there's been rumblings about it.
Yeah, there's been talks.
And so it's pretty concerning, but again, like if it happens, it's not the fucking end of the world. We'll see where it goes. We'll see what happens.
It'd be really shitty.
It would suck. It would suck because, especially for the X-Men franchise.
Yeah.
All right, another segue. You got one?
Yeah. Well, X-Men really was sustained and really blew up in the 80s with Claremont.
Oh,
Speaking
of
the 80s,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Here's Stranger Things.
That was a good one.
2.
Do you like write these down before?
No, I think of it as we're doing.
You just have that fucking genius like improv mind. Okay, so
Stranger Things 2.
Everyone knows it came out. It happened.
We made a video about season 1, I think. Season
2, season 1 and before season 2 came out, we talked about it. So go see that if you want our opinion on the show as a whole. I mean, we're both big fans, as the entire world was.
Yeah, season 1's a fucking banger.
It's a banger. Yeah. It is a banger, and the entire world fucking loved the show.
Yeah,
and it was great. It was a fucking awesome show. And so season 2 came out maybe like a week or so ago, 2 weeks, something.
Yeah, Halloween. Yeah, a week ago. 2 weeks. 2 weeks.
So it's been 2 weeks. Everyone's probably seen it by now.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll jump right into it since we already made a video about it. I mean, expectations were fucking really high.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean, because the first season was great. I was kind of I wasn't worried about it, but I was like, still there was a part of me that's like, where are we going with this? Because it kind of seemed like season 1 was kind of, you could call that the ending, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, is this going to feel natural?
Yeah.
What's the deal with it? And I watched the show. I think I watched it in like almost a day.
Jesus.
So Christ. I binged that shit hard, and it's pretty good.
Yeah, I watched it over like 5 days, 6 days, something like that. It's not because I wanted to savor it; I just didn't have time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I watched this, and I liked it. I liked it. I wouldn't say quite a bit. It's just below quite a bit. Like,
you liked it.
I liked it
enough.
A fair amount.
That's kind of where I'm at too. I thought it was good. It was. I mean, look, season 1 was great.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. I mean, here's the thing: season 2 had unsustainably high expectations.
It did.
From season 1.
Yeah.
Season 1 just came out of nowhere. Like the only thing I saw of season 1 was Stephen King's tweet about how good it was. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should check it out. And then I watched it in one day. Like I watched that season in one day.
That's the thing about this season is like
amazing.
there's certain things that season 1 had that season 2 can't have, and that's like the surprise of it, the novelty of season 1. We're like, oh, we're back in the 80s, and oh, this is a Spielberg movie. This is so cool. It had that novelty.
Yeah. Well, it also can't tell the exact same story as the first season.
Yeah,
so
and also there was kind of there was like a mystery to the first season, like, oh, what's the upside down? Like, what is happening? Like, what's going on here?
This season's job was to expand, or an attempt to expand.
Yeah, exactly.
Like most sequels expand.
Yeah. When I finished the season, my feeling of the movie was just like, this feels like one of those sequels that isn't nearly as good as the first one, not even close, but is still good.
Yeah.
Like there's so many sequels that are shit, but it felt like one of the ones that it's good. Like, it's fine. It kind of reminded me almost like I'm trying to think of a good example. There's a lot of, I guess, for you music fans out there, it's kind of like going from Illmatic to It Was Written. Like, It Was Written is a good album, but it's not fucking nearly as good as Illmatic.
Yeah, Illmatic is a fun.
So like, it kind of reminded me of that. It's a good follow up, or the decent follow up, but but also you could never get to that height, so it's kind of this weird thing.
Well, it's a big slippery slope, because there's a lot of things I loved about this season, but the things I don't like are also the things I kind of like. Like, it's really weird, because probably my biggest thing I like is the different pairings, but also I would have wanted more of them as a group.
Because that was kind of what was fun about the first season. Is like this group of kids had such great chemistry, and they were all so lovable, and they worked together well.
11 is just shoot away until the last 2 episodes.
Yeah,
with the group.
So like that was it. I was kind of missing the group chemistry in this season.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the pairings were fun. You know, Dustin and Steve was fucking hilarious.
That was awesome. Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Especially at the ending when he's teaching them how to get girls or whatever.
Yeah,
that was funny.
The hair.
That was funny as hell. And 11 and Hopper was a good pairing.
Yeah, that was great.
So yeah, that was cool. But also, I kind of missed the group chemistry.
Yeah, because the last 2 episodes are the last 2 episodes are my favorite, because that felt most like season 1. And I mean, I know that sounds ridiculous that I want more of season 1, but
but it kind of captured the season 1 magic. Yeah, is the thing.
Exactly,
okay,
so they're all together.
So like the season starts pretty good. It's a bit of a slow burn.
Yeah,
like, it doesn't jump right into it. Season 1 captured your attention right away.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with this, is the pacing. It doesn't have the pace or the wit of the first season.
Yeah, I would say if I had one problem with season 2, it's the pacing. Pacing was off.
It's off.
I mean, and also the writing I thought was a bit clunky as well.
Yeah, I thought it was clunky at points.
It wasn't horrible. It wasn't bad, but it was like, it was kind of clunky, and the pacing was off. So that's what it felt like. This season wasn't as smooth as season 1. Nearly. It felt very choppy. I guess is the best way to say. Like there's parts where you're really into it, and you're like, oh, this is awesome, and then there's other parts where it's like, this is kind of slow, and then it stops for, like, we'll get to that fucking episode. And then it gets good at the end, so it's very kind of...
Well, yeah, it's weird, because it hits a lull kind of in the middle, where it's like, I can't differentiate those episodes that much in the middle. Because, I kind of just... And it's like... I don't know, because again, the characters are fucking amazing.
That was the biggest strength of season 1.
Because like, Nancy, Jonathan, and Vodka Guy was my fucking dream. That was awesome.
Vodka Guy was awesome.
Did you pull out?
that was funny. Awesome. I mean, that was always the biggest strength of Stranger Things, is the characters. Yeah, I mean, it's not some like masterpiece of television. It's tons of fun, and you got these amazing fucking characters.
The characters are so good,
and a lot of them, like all of them, are still great in this season.
Like even the like psychotic Henry Bowers-esque brother. Like even he was okay. I mean, I didn't really care for the new chick all that much. Like
Max. Like I didn't dislike Max. I didn't think she added anything to the show. She didn't add anything to the dynamic. She might later on, but like she just kind of felt like, she's fine.
Yeah, just kind of the token girl in there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it because they sort of needed like someone to fill in that 11 role.
And also an antagonist for them other than the Demogorgons.
Yeah, and to add a new dynamic to the group, but I didn't feel. I feel like that character could have been better.
Like again, that relationship aspect was pretty funny. Like that was pretty good with Lucas. And Austin.
That love triangle thing that was cool. The best new character was Bob.
Bob is a fucking G.
I loved Bob.
Sean Astin is a G.
That guy's amazing. But yeah, that's what's good about the season. You still have the great characters. The episodes are good. Like there's great moments. There's funny moments. There's suspenseful moments. It has a lot of that. The bad side of it is that it is very clunky. It is very messy. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that didn't work, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of like I think that the biggest problem is the first season had a plot that could sustain 8 episodes. This one doesn't have a plot that could sustain 9 episodes.
So it kind of feels like the first 6 episodes, you're like, yeah, this is fun. But it's like, it doesn't really, it's not capturing you as much as the first season did.
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
There's the odd funny joke and there's some good.
The characters are amazing. Obviously.
Yeah, the characters are great, and there's some. It's the story's starting to build, like what's happening with Will. Yeah. But it's like it's still kind of not really hitting you.
Along slowly.
And then I guess we'll talk about 7.
Talking about the antithesis of breaking pace, episode 7.
Okay, so here's the thing.
God.
When I first saw it, when I first watched the show, I didn't mind it. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. It's a one-off, whatever. Then everyone started saying how much shit that episode was, and then I went back and watched it. I'm like, why was this here?
Yeah.
Why did they do that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, first off, it doesn't tell you anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing. Like they don't go into Eleven's backstory. They don't really tell you anything about her that you wouldn't have already known or guessed.
Yeah.
The episode was lame. It was corny. It was poorly written. It was just it was cringy.
It was the antithesis of what's wrong with season 2. Because here's
the show was just getting good. Episode 6.
Yeah, at the end of episode 6, you're left with that massive cliffhanger where the Demogorgon's coming up and Hopper's looking down. It's like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? And then episode 7 is let's do New Mutants or whatever the fuck they're trying to do with that. It's just awful.
Yeah, and the episode was bad. It was bad. It was like just cringy and dumb.
11's going through her emo phase.
And it was pointless. I mean, I did kind of get it as far as like 11's story of like, oh, she's trying to find herself or like who she is, where she came from.
I mean, there was...
And she kind of finally found it. And now she realizes that her real family is over. Like, I get that,
exactly.
But it feels like you really did. You could skip this episode.
Yeah,
you could absolutely. The only thing you would know is why does 11 look all punk rock?
Yeah,
that's all. But it doesn't matter. Like really, this didn't need to be there. You could have done those elements with 11 without doing that. You could have made that the side story during those episodes.
Yeah,
of like. And it was just, it felt pointless. It really, it didn't need to be there.
Like, there's one good moment in this episode, I think, and it's when her sister or whatever, which that is also a retarded element I don't like at all.
I don't get that.
That's a stupid element I do not like. And by retarded, I don't mean...
Yeah.
I just mean stupid.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, there's one good scene where her sister or whatever is trying to kill the scientist dude.
Yeah,
and she shows her morality. But again, that could have been in another episode.
Like, there was no reason for episode 7.
There's no reason. That's the thing. Is like that's how episode 1. I think episode 1 opens with the sister character or whatever. And I forgot about her by the time episode 7 came around.
They were just kind of like, oh, them. Yeah.
I forgot about her, and then it's like, wait, who is she? And I'm like, oh yeah, at the beginning of the first episode.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people have also explained this as it really feels like their attempt to try to spin it off or whatever.
Do a spin-off series.
Yeah, this was their one episode that just felt like a complete deviation.
It didn't feel like the same show.
For the purpose of a spin-off series. But there's been no talks of that.
I do that. That's pointless. That is fucking stupid. So yeah, that episode sucked, and like even though it's one episode, it's a big deal because it shuts down the pacing.
No, it fucking ruined the pacing.
Yeah, it throws it 100% off. You're better skipping the episode. Skip it. If you haven't watched the show yet, skip episode 7.
Because episode 6 leads directly into 8. Like, it's literally the moment after we see the thing.
So you're just like, why did they do that? Like, it's pointless.
Like, I mean, I'd be even more pissed off if this was on TV week to week.
Yeah.
Because you get that shitty episode 7 after that amazing cliffhanger.
Yeah, so that it really bogs down the season. Like that one episode really does. And look, season 1 was 8 episodes. This was 9 episodes. You could have cut it 100%.
Yeah,
I don't. That was so stupid. So stupid. Do you think there was an overall problem with 11 in this season? Like, do you think the writers really knew? I kind of thought this was a problem because 11, she's a great character. She was the best character in season 1. She's still great in this season, but it's like, do you think there was an issue with like the writers not really knowing what to do with 11 this season?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because she's kind of like this psychic, like superpowered being. So they're like, oh fuck, what are we supposed to do here? Like, what do we do with her character? And then they're like, oh, let's shoo her off.
She just kind of goes on a side quest of like self-discovery, and she doesn't really come into play until the end.
It's mainly because I think she probably would have had the easy way out if she would have been with the group. So they kind of just shooed her away.
Yeah, and so I feel like that was an issue. The writers really didn't know what to do with 11.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of the same with Dustin, with his little pet Demogorgon thing. It's like, that's a really stupid decision. Like, I know he's a kid, but it's like, that's really stupid. Especially after what you went through in the first season.
Yeah, you should be a little bit more cautious.
You should be a little bit more cautious. Like, it eats your cat, and you're still okay with it?
Yeah,
like,
so that felt kind of dumb.
Like, there's a few stupid decisions.
So that's that the writing is not 100% there.
Yeah.
Like, there's parts where there's very well-written scenes.
Yeah.
And overall, the story does more or less keep you engaged. But it's like, there's some weird decisions that they made.
Exactly.
Like, just not only in the writing, but in the pacing and with that episode. It's like, there's so much of this season that doesn't work, but there's also so much of it that does work.
Yeah.
It's like the characters are still great. The acting is still there for the most part. And so it's like, yeah, it's very much a double-ended thing. But I think when it's all said and done, the good stuff of the season overpowers the bad stuff.
Yeah, I'd say there's way more good than bad.
Yes. So overall, the season ends up being kind of 7 to 8 out of 10. That when season 1 was a full banger.
Yeah, it was like a 10.
When this season was like, it's good. You know, it's watchable. It's entertaining. It is entertainment. Yeah. But it's just not nearly as good as season 1. And just ignoring season 1 as like a piece of drama, there's big issues with it.
Yeah.
And like the acting is still good. I mean, the characters are still good. Hopper is amazing. I love Hopper. Hopper and Dustin are my 2 favorite characters. Like both those 2 are just awesome.
Yeah.
One thing I will say is the kid who plays Will. He was great. Like his acting, I was impressed. I was very impressed.
I was thinking about him. It's very interesting because he played almost like Regan from Exorcist mixed with Danny from Shining. That's pretty much his performance.
It is definitely.
That was funny.
And I was like, wow, this kid can act because he wasn't in season 1 very much. And so like he was pulling off some of those dramatic moments very well. And everyone overall is really good. I feel like there was a little bit too much screaming, in my opinion, where it's like, not just that, but just like to make it dramatic, they have to have someone screaming at another person, and I'm like, that's a little obnoxious at a certain point. And everyone's a little emo. Like Mike is being a fucking bitch.
Yeah,
the whole
I was
time.
just about to say that. Like, it's almost like they had too many characters in this because Finn Wolfhard really seems to be pushed to the back. Like he was the lead of season 1.
He was more or less the lead. I mean, season 1 it didn't really have a lead. You could argue different characters, but as far as that group, he was kind of the main focus. Yeah. Now he's kind of pushed to the side.
This one, he's completely pushed to the side.
And he just kind of whines the whole time, and he's kind of unlikable. He's kind of an emo fucking cunt the whole time, and I'm just like, I liked Mike in the first season. I don't know what the hell happened here. I mean, I get 11's gone or whatever, and it was like a big,
he's sad.
It was a big emotional thing for him, and now it's like he's kind of being a little, he's kind of an emo, simple plan listening cunt.
In the rain.
Yeah. Yeah.
Inside joke.
Yeah, no, inside jokes. So I don't know.
I mean, I'd say it was successful for sure. I'd say successful.
It was good enough. It could have been better, but I think overall they pulled it off.
I mean, if I had to pull a personal example, it was one of recent. This felt really, Stranger Things 2 really felt like Blade Runner 2 to me, where it's like it's really good, but it's not as good, and there's. Like, I mean, more so with Stranger Things 2, there's glaring issues.
See, I don't relate to that
I really
analogy.
That for sure.
I love. We already did that video. I love that movie, but
that's at least how I feel. That's the only way I can.
It made me feel like there's so many sequels that are like that for me, where it's just like the first one's great, the second one is not nearly as good, but it's still good.
Yeah. Still pretty good. Like, I mean, it's still worth your time for sure.
Yeah, no, it's 100% worth watching. Just skip episode 7 and go in knowing that there's some issues. Absolutely. Like, just to sum it up again, they didn't know what to do with 11. Not all the characters really work anymore.
There's like Hawkeye or whatever, like with his spiked hair.
That was stupid. That was so fucking stupid. And there was dumb writing decisions. So it's a bit of a clusterfuck, but overall, I think it pulls through.
Yeah, I think it's 8 episodes. It's pretty good.
Yeah, 9. Cut out episode 7. You put those 8 together. It's good. It could have been tight. It could have been tightened up, but it's a solid season.
Yeah, I mean, it probably could have been even shorter. Like, it could have been probably 6 episodes or so.
Yeah,
because then they could have maintained the pace of the first season. But it's pretty solid. As
it works. Episodes, I really enjoyed it. So before we wrap up, just a quick note. What are your feelings after season 2 about the show going forward? Because in season 1 and the first video we did on Stranger Things, we're kind of saying like we have to see season 2 before we really say like where this is going. Do you see a big future for this? How do you feel after season 2?
The Duffers have already come out and said they're going to make 4, I think.
Yeah, I think 2 more seasons we're getting.
So, I mean, after this, I felt really confident about a second season after the first one. I feel just as confident after this one.
Really,
especially with the tag we get at the end, with the big, like, thing or whatever. Like, I don't know what the name of that thing is.
No, I'm still confident. I still think
I'm just as confident.
This has staying power, because even though I didn't love season 2 and I thought it was good, not great, I think season 3 could be great, because season 2 doesn't completely kill it. It's just like, you know, it worked more or less. It did its job, and now, you know, chapter 3 could be better.
Well, I mean, obviously season 3 is going to happen.
Netflix is going to milk this shit.
Season 2 just blew up, and I mean, they're gonna like. I wouldn't be surprised if episode 7 was studio mandated. Like, if Netflix mandated that so they could do a fucking spin-off thing. Because they already do that with the Marvel TV shows where they had Daredevil.
Do you think they'll
Jessica
do that?
Jones and Luke Cage,
like about those
and
punk rock guys?
They might. I mean,
don't do that.
Everybody hates that episode, so I hope not.
Yeah, that may have been their plan, but everyone kind of thought this episode was shit. So.
But I mean, season 3 could certainly happen, because we got a lot of closure, but we also didn't, because by the end we see the upside down threat is still there. Like, they didn't really do anything.
They didn't do some big tag. It was just like a little thing that they're doing. Oh, there's still the upside down is still there.
Yeah, like, I mean again, that could lead to not having season 3. But I think they did film something that pushed you more to season 3, but they cut it out because they didn't want to seem like assholes like the Duffers. They didn't we got a season 3 on the way. Like, no, they didn't want to be like that.
They kind of wanted it to be like, this wraps up as well.
Well, exactly, yeah.
Like, at the end of every season, you could duck there.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Exactly.
Like, if you wanted to go to season 1, you could duck after season 1. Or you could watch season 2, you could duck then. Or you could go to season 3. And I like, I like also the decision not to call this Stranger Things Season 2, but call it Stranger Things 2. Yeah. So it's like a movie. Like, this is its own movie that's standing alone. That was cool.
It was.
Because season 1 always kind of felt like a movie.
Yeah, this one felt really cinematic. This season also.
It didn't feel as much like a Spielberg thing. Like, season 1 really felt stylistic in that sense. This one not nearly as much, but it did feel cinematic for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously they're gonna chuck all the money they can at this guy, because Stranger Things is one of the
biggest things.
Probably
in the world.
Their biggest thing.
Netflix. Oh yeah, hands down, undeniably. Yeah, it's like a pop culture phenomenon. Like, people are talking about this shit everywhere. Like, everyone watches.
Yeah, I mean, people were still crying over Barb.
You know, even in this season, it totally carried over. So, if we go into season 3, I want them to tighten it up to be more concise. To you know.
Get to the point,
faster. Yeah. So there's definitely a lot of improvement after season 2, but I think they could pull it off, and I'm excited for season 3.
I just hope Vodka Guy is in season 3.
Oh yeah, he was great. So yeah, that's Stranger Things. We'll see you in the fucking year when season 3 comes out.
2 years, 3 years.
It'll probably be a year.
Maybe
because they did season 1 to 2 in a year.
Because they moved it right quick to get this one going. So probably the same with season 3.
to be stereotyped. I want to be classified.